Welcome to Chelsea Forum. My name is Duke Bradley, Executive Director, Chelsea Cable TV. And today I got two special guests. I got Armida,
Yes.
Captain Armida,
Yes.
and Lieutenant Michael. Thank
Hi.
you for coming in and taking time out of a busy schedule at this time of year.
Thanks for having us.
All right, tell us, you guys are new guys around here. Tell us when you got here and where you came from.
Yeah, the Salvation Army system is that officers every few years get moved and changed around. And so that's nothing new for us. We were actually appointed in Cambridge for the last 4 years. And this July 1st was our first day here in Chelsea. The officers...
Belated welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, boy, we've been really well received. And
yeah, that's nice.
some of our board members have really helped us with an entree into the community. So it's been really good.
Yeah, that's nice. And how do you find Chelsea? You like it?
We like it. Chelsea is interesting.
Yeah.
Chelsea is interesting. A lot of history, a lot of diversity. It's beautiful. Admiral Hill, the Soldiers' Home.
Yeah. Did you see all the buildings going up, the FBI building and the hotels? It's amazing.
Yeah, great
You
things
guys
seem to be
Come
happening.
into the, great place.
That's right.
We're up and running. Yeah. So tell us, what are some of the things on the agenda? What do you got? Do you serve lunch every day or a couple days a week, or how's that work?
We do. We have, specifically with meals, we have a Meals on Wheels program where we cook, prepare, and deliver between 160, 180 meals a day to seniors.
Wow.
In addition to that, we have probably 10 to 15 seniors that come to the building to eat.
Every day?
Yeah, Monday through Friday. And then after that, at 1 o'clock, we have a lunch for the homeless, Monday through Friday as well. That's something that we've started in the last 8 or 9 months.
Do we have many?
We average, depending on what day of the month it is, we average between 25 and 30.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you guys always do such a great job, and it's such a busy season. Now, do you plan for a big Thanksgiving? Do you always have a Thanksgiving meal for the people?
Yeah, we do. Actually, my wife's really been involved in coordinating that.
You're the cook too?
I am not the cook.
You're
I
not.
married someone who could cook.
And you outrank him anyways. You can designate him
I
to...
always will. So
Your wife outranks you too. You just might not know
but
it.
she got a title. She's captain.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we're very good at sharing the labor. So I cover some things. My husband covers other things. And this year I'm kind of coordinating Thanksgiving. So we'll be handing out Thanksgiving baskets to about 200 to 250 families in East Boston for that area and Charlestown. And then the Cheesecake Factory actually cooks and serves a meal at our building on Chestnut Street, and they will be serving about 400 meals
With
on
cheesecake
Thanksgiving
too as
Day
dessert?
with pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh, can
Yes.
you save me a piece?
I'll try.
Yeah.
They're famous for their turkey too.
Are they?
Oh yeah, they do the whole spread. It's going to be remarkable.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you need volunteers? How about for Thanksgiving to serve, to help?
The Cheesecake Factory provides volunteers, but we can always use volunteers, whether it be Thanksgiving or other days. There's always something for someone to do. So if they just give us a call, we're happy to get people involved in some way.
Yeah. You know, I thought I was a little early, but the lieutenant's telling me you already started the kettle? Tell me how that works.
Yeah, we've been getting that up and rolling, getting all ready, contacting our stores, and getting bell ringers on board. And we just had our kettle bell ringer training yesterday.
Training.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got to, it's hard to stand in one spot for 4 hours and find of interesting ways to continue to do that. So yeah, we have a kind of a fun time of orientation and just letting them know, what they're out there doing, what they're doing it for.
Well, I'd like to do a volunteer at the Market Basket for 4 hours one Saturday, okay?
That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I know quite a few people, so
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
you
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to do that. I've
Oh,
done
that's
it in the
wonderful.
past.
We'd actually love it if more businesses would do that, because part of our ministry at Christmas is to hire people who don't have work to get some seasonal money. But the more people that volunteer, the more money we're able to make, because we're not putting that money out for employment.
Well, make the appeal. Tell the business people out there. They're all watching, and tell them,
I will.
Yeah.
if they could help. And can people make donations anyway? Send in donations, not just to the kettle itself?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have a business, a church, a group, a civic group like Rotary, Kiwanis, anything like that, give us a call. The number is 617-884-0260. Ask for Lieutenant Mike or Captain Armida. Make it fun. You can get 3, 4, or 5 people that can take a shift, 3 or 4 hours, have a good time, have some hot chocolate.
I do.
And it really does help us, help others throughout the whole year. It not only helps provide an income for those who otherwise are not able to get jobs, but it helps us pay the lights, buy the food, and continue stocking our food pantry. That those needs are all year long.
Why don't I try to get a little directive out to the organizations to have you guys be guest speakers at their
Terrific.
luncheons?
I'll be at Rotary today. I'm a Rotarian.
So you got that
they're
covered.
very good.
We
Yeah.
got to get you Kiwanis. And
Yep, we're a member of Kiwanis.
Oh God. What are we here for? You guys got all your bases covered.
But
which
I
is
should
great.
mention that this year we are going to have the coveted Silver Bell Award, and the
Yes.
organization that makes the most money will get the Silver Bell Award to display in their area of
Is that like
business.
Dancing with the Stars, the Mirabelle Trophy?
If you need it to be blinged out, I'll do it. Whatever people need.
Yeah, we'll put some
Yeah.
bedazzle on it. And,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing here. It's such a great organization. Do you guys go out in the street anymore like they used to do? I haven't been downtown lately. Do you still do that? I always
Not as
enjoyed
often.
that. Yeah.
Not as often. Not because we don't want to necessarily, but you've got to get this permit, you've got to get that permit, so you've got to be careful and selective in how you do it. But we've noticed that there's a beautiful park right across from the core, KM Park.
Oh yeah.
And
nice.
we'd love to just have one of our Sunday church services out there and have our brass band play some songs and share some good news with people.
Yeah, they're great people that came.
Yes,
Mount
yeah,
Port's
and very
family.
supportive of the Salvation Army.
Are they?
Yeah.
I heard a story once. They said, you're only like a paycheck away from, the other captain before you guys, nice, great guy.
Yeah.
And he said, we used to have a guy who was always a great donor. Then one day he was a recipient.
Right.
You know
Right.
how things can change in a heartbeat.
That's right.
I'm sure you see a lot. And
Yeah.
But you guys have always been. I love the Salvation Army.
Thank you.
I really do.
We do too.
And I know. Tell us a little bit. Tell us about the history, some of the things you got. And you're into genealogy.
Yeah, I love history. I love genealogy, and especially when I found out that my genealogy traces back to the beginnings of Boston and New England.
First governor.
First governor, John Winthrop, and the second governor, Thomas Dudley. But what was interesting in finding out about my family tree, I got some really cool cousins that you'd be envious of. Herbert Hoover,
Oh, come on.
Amelia Earhart,
Oh, come on.
Humphrey Bogart,
Yeah.
Tennessee Williams.
Come on.
No.
Harry.
John Kerry, Senator John Kerry is my cousin. I don't take credit for him.
Yeah.
No, but so
Really?
all these distinguished people that have descended, and it makes you kind of wonder: what happened to my DNA?
Yeah, but chief, you're an aristocrat. Do you know you're married to a guy like this?
I am, and a lot of his ancestors were ministers and pastors, and it's just really cool
What, that
to
it comes down,
see
trickles
that
down,
400
huh?
or 500 years later, we're still doing what
Still in
his
the family
ancestors
business.
did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you could trace it back to Italy, sort of?
Yeah,
And then
I have ancestors in Italy, Scotland, Germany, and Native
An opera
American.
singer? Famous opera
An opera,
singer?
well, I don't know if he was famous, but that's actually where my name comes from. My name is an Italian opera by a composer named Rossini.
When her father was a kid, because of her grandfather being in show business, her father remembers Jimmy Durante coming over for dinner.
No, really?
He does.
Yeah.
You two, God, honest to God. I mean, this is like amateur hour coming to us. You've been on PBS and
Yeah, PBS. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. But the Salvation Army's history is just as rich. It goes
Yeah.
back to 1865 in
London.
London. Our founder was reaching out to people on the streets, and he found that people who were dealing with alcoholism and prostitution and homelessness and poverty weren't being accepted into the mainline churches. And that's really how the Salvation Army began, is a place for people to belong and feel loved no matter where they are in their life or their choices they've made. And so we continue that now. We're in 127 countries,
Wow.
4 of which I've been privileged to visit, and I actually lived in Kenya for 3 years and
you really?
served in Africa.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to see what the Army does worldwide, still really reaching out to people and trying to help those who don't feel loved anywhere else have a place where they're accepted and loved and helped.
It's amazing.
William Booth said, the founder of the Salvation Army said, no matter how bad you are, no matter how lost you are, no matter where you are, you'll always have at least 2 friends, Jesus Christ and the Salvation Army.
That's nice.
And that's great. That's what inspired me to, I found the Army, the Salvation Army, by finding a book at the dump in the Still Good shed. I thought it was a book on the Civil War because I opened it up and it had like a black and white picture of an old guy with a beard and a gray uniform. It ended up being about the founding of the Salvation Army. And I read that book and it totally just changed my life.
Yeah.
And so after I read the book, I said, I need to find the closest Salvation Army and see if it's still like this. And I did. I reported the next week to a Sunday service, and the major walked up and said, so what brings you to the Salvation Army? And I said, well, I found a book at the dump. And I read it, and I really want to roll up my sleeves and get involved.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, he wrote an article in our Salvation Army war cry about how he found the Salvation Army at the dump, and a missionary in Africa read the article and reached out to him, and that's how we
Got together.
met, and we
Oh, you
got
went to
married.
Kenya also?
No.
Nope,
Oh,
I
no.
just read the article.
She
and
read the magazine in Kenya that had the article about how I found the Salvation Army in it.
Oh.
And so that book that I found at the dump brought me my life and my wife.
Your wife and your wife.
Yeah.
How many stations have you been in?
I've only been out of seminary for almost 5 years. So I've been in Springfield. I was in Springfield during the tornado that happened in 2011, and then I was at a shelter in downtown Boston for a few months while we were waiting to get married. Then we were in Cambridge together for 4 years, and then now most recently here in Chelsea, East
I
Boston.
got my call into the Army from Guys and Dolls.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was that was
It's an excellent
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been in Ohio. I taught at our seminary for a little bit, and then I was in Africa, and then I was in charge of our camp in Sharon, Massachusetts, and youth programs for about 1.5 years until we got married.
You know, I really didn't know there was a seminary. There is training.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why we have captain, lieutenant, we have those ranks. Once you go to the seminary, you're actually not only commissioned as a Salvation Army Corps officer, which means you would be the executive director of a facility, you're also an ordained minister. And
How long does that course?
what's that?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years?
Yes, and
Before-
it's immersive because it's almost 24 hours a day. You're pretty busy. And so rather than going by pastor or reverend, father, our officer rank is actually our clerical title.
Yeah. That's great. Now, are you looking for more people for the seminary? Or you guys got, with a great organization that must be lining up at the door to become involved in the Salvation Army? No?
You'd be surprised because it has to be a calling. Because if you're just trying to do it because you think you wanted a career at that or something, it's the worst place in the world because you're actually being called to give your life away.
You are, yeah.
And so we're very busy. We give ourselves away, and it has to be a calling because when you have a line of people coming at you constantly that are in abysmal need,
That's what I was
that
just gonna
you
say
can't
that.
even touch, you know, you've got to have something underneath
How do you
there.
do that?
Well, it's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a calling.
I mean, you guys see everything, you know. You see everything, and it's so sad, you know. It's so, you know, so many people are homeless, and not eating, and it's. But when you guys are there for everybody, you
We
don't get
hold
the
us-
credit another organization, really gets, maybe because of publicity and the monies, maybe they can advertise differently, but you
Yeah.
guys have always been there. You've never heard a bad word about the Salvation
Thank
Army.
you. When
There's
I was
not-
in Africa, it was especially hard to accept that you couldn't fix everything. I would go to rural schools, I'd be the first white person the kids had ever seen, and I would say, what are your needs right now? And I would hear things like, well, the kids haven't eaten this week. We
This
had a
week.
drought.
This
right.
week.
We had a drought and we don't have any food. I went to a little daycare in the middle of the slums, and it's very important for them to serve guests. So they gave me a couple boiled eggs and some tea, and I didn't eat the yolk of the egg, and they actually took the yolk off my plate to give to some of the kids to share that food, because that was a big deal to them. So it tears you up, because what can you possibly do to fix that kind of issue? And someone said to me, yeah, but whatever good you do is still good. And so you have to focus on that. So if I was able to facilitate a well being dug at a certain school, I had to know that that was good for those people in that school, whether the other 300 schools got a well or not. And I think we keep that in mind here too. We're not going to be able to help every person, but if we're able to reach somebody, let them know that they still are worthy, that there's still something good in them, then we're doing what God wants us to do.
How do you keep your emotions in check, though? I mean, you see everything, when you see
Medication.
kids.
No, I'm just kidding.
We
Joking.
vent to each other. We vent to each other. And
I
that's,
would think so.
That's why commonly in the Salvation Army, married couples are both ordained and both appointed the leadership, because if we were, say, part of a regular church or something like that, and I was the pastor doing all of this work, it can be really hard on a marriage. But when you're both called and you're both in the trenches together, and your marriage knows that going in, we already know the lifestyle, we know the commitment, we know the burdens, we share those. And so it really, there's a lot of wisdom in the Salvation Army in appointing couples
Now, do
together.
they always keep you together?
Yeah.
Wherever you go, like you say, you'll probably stay here 5 years or so. Next assignment,
Right.
you'll go together?
Yes.
Well, that's great.
Some married couples have separate appointments, but they'd be in the same place. So like the woman might have a different job than the man, but they would both be at a divisional headquarters, so they would still be at the same place, even though they had different
Do you
appointments.
do counseling to people coming
We
in?
do pastoral counseling, and I was blessed enough to get a master's in social work after I went to college, before I went to seminary. So it's been a good foundation for the pastoral counseling that we're able to do as well.
And do you have a mass or anything?
We have Sunday worship services.
Yeah.
Actually, our congregation in Chelsea is very interesting in that we have one congregation, but we have English services as well as Spanish services. So on Sunday mornings at 11 is our worship meeting in English. We have Sunday school, but the hour before that. And then at 2 p.m. is our Spanish service. And we actually have a third officer that's assigned to our corps here in Chelsea.
Bilingual?
Lieutenant Maribel Medina. She is bilingual. She's Hispanic. And she pastors the Spanish-speaking segment of our congregation.
Yeah.
And then once a month, we have a united service with
Yeah.
both the Spanish and English speaking.
Now, do you have an ecumenical council? Do you meet with the other ministers and priests and so forth?
We just recently got in on the ground floor of a Chelsea
Clergy council.
clergy council,
Clergy council.
that's being started by, it's been started by Reverend Whitley.
Sandra Whitley.
Oh, Pastor Whitley.
Yep, and also Father Edgar of St. Luke's
St.
Episcopal
Luke's,
Church.
yeah.
And we actually just met with them last Friday and had a wonderful meeting, and
Both
we're
nice
excited
people, very nice
to get involved, and we want to see that grow to other churches so that we can coordinate what services we already offer the community, so we're not overlapping or duplicating,
Yeah.
so that we can all do the most good together.
Yeah, I think they have I think they have a food pantry on Saturdays.
They
They
do.
have a meal on Saturdays,
meal.
A meal?
actually, yeah, and he's hoping to start one Wednesday nights as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really
Yeah.
reaches out, and they have a very large and well-organized food pantry as
I
well.
know I volunteered upstairs. We do 300 bags once a month, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's we wish we didn't have to.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it'd be great if we didn't have to, but I'm glad it's around us. But we have a food
Yeah.
bank that brings in the supplies, and we bag it and pack it, and it feels good,
It
you know.
does. So yeah, we're very excited about being a part of that, and we also, as a group, are looking to address homelessness in Chelsea, East Boston, Revere, and to become a humble voice to the city government to try to help advance solutions or things to bring relief to some of the homelessness and some of the issues of addiction that are currently going on here in Chelsea.
You see everything, huh?
Yeah.
We have a vision, and it's just a vision at this point, but we're seeing if it will come to fruition that in the future we could create a program where we could reach out to the homeless, addicted, and those in prostitution by having a canteen on the streets through the night to give out some hot coffee, some care, some love,
Are there
especially
really
the women in
people
prostitution.
living under the bridge?
Yes.
Wow, really?
As far as we know, we've been told that is true. I have not gone down there.
Yeah, I've
but
heard something similar to that. You know, I'm not totally aware of it, but I've heard through the grapevine that
Yeah.
there are people living under the bridge. You know. Now, what about? Of course, the cold months are coming upon us. Do you do a drive for clothing, like for coats?
We've been starting to have some conversations with people about winter coats, and there's a couple of sources that, if it all works out, will be donating some coats for us, and we'll make those available.
I mean, anything, gloves, scarves, hats, you know, socks. You know.
We won't turn away donations. We'll find a use for it.
Yeah.
Whether if we don't have someone who can use it, we would pass it on to the thrift store, which supports men in recovery, men and women dealing with addiction and in recovery. So, you know, we're willing to take anything, but of course, if it comes to our location, and it's meant for people, we will do our best to see that somebody
Yeah.
who needs it gets it.
Then another thing, with you jumping ahead to the Christmas, do you have to have toys for tots and everything, right? I mean, coining a phrase from the
Yeah.
Marine Corps, I think, toys
Yes.
for tots, but
Yes.
just using it.
Our program is called the Angel Tree. When people come in to fill out an application for Christmas, we fill out a tag with them of their child's size, what clothes they need, and what toys they like. And then organizations and individuals can take those tags and buy for that specific child and bring it back, and we're able to give it out to those families. Our East Boston and Charlestown families actually go to what's called the Christmas Castle, which is an all Boston Salvation Army event where they again can get coats, toys, and food for their family. And then we, for Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop, serve about 400 families just at our location in Chestnut Street.
Wow, that is great. That is great. You guys, honestly, could talk forever about the work you guys do. You know, it's...
You know, we couldn't do it without the many hands that support us financially, materially, and just other volunteers rolling up their sleeves. They multiply our army.
But the
And,
name itself sells itself too, the Salvation Army. I mean, you know, you guys do a great job leading it, but people, what would Christmas be without a bell ringer? I mean,
Right.
Chris, that's to me
It's
starts the
iconic.
Christmas season.
It's
Right,
iconic,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just. In fact, I got a little kettle. I think that the captain gave me last time.
There you go.
So, do I owe you for that?
No, just fill it up and drop it off.
No, I want a big one when I go outside the market
That'd be
basket.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want you to come by hourly because I'll have it, bulging out of the pot.
You're very charismatic. I bet you do really well. You know?
I did well. I think I was a high scorer. You know,
Yeah.
I said,
Wow.
you guys, because I said to the collector, I said, do you guys keep score? I mean, would you kind of put mine aside and say how much I got for you?
Yeah, we
know,
can do.
I
We
get
count
a
every
little,
kettle.
ego trip. Did I get the most? Did I do the best? Are there anybody? There used to be a couple of stores were Scrooges, weren't they? That didn't allow the kettle
There's some
ring.
stores that have policies now that they don't allow people to stand outside with a kettle, but they're usually still supportive financially and in other ways, and we try to be
yeah.
understanding of it. Because, well, we are understanding of it because, you know, we don't know the reasons for their policies. There could be several reasons.
So many, I hate to use the word competition, but charitable agencies and they've grown, and there's so many now that if you own a grocery store or some kind of a store, the amount of people coming to you all year round looking to, can we stand at your door and do this?
Yeah.
Years ago, there were a lot fewer players. And so now that there's so many, you can almost understand sometimes why a store might say, we just can't deal with this, we'll support in other ways. But thankfully, and thank goodness, there are still many stores and community partners that get it and understand that this is our opportunity once a year to garner the resources and donations that we need desperately to continue doing what we do all year round.
And I don't think people realize how their dollar or even 50 cents or even a penny add up. At our location, our goal is $100,000 so in our kettles. So if you can imagine how that money adds up, but it's getting harder and harder to raise money that way. And so
Is that the main source?
It's the biggest fundraiser of the year. We have government contracts, and there's people who are very generous with donations throughout the year, but our kettle effort and our Christmas mail appeal is our biggest fundraiser of the year and probably raises more money than any other.
Yeah.
So we can take small change and use it to help make big change in people's lives.
Everything,
It
every
adds up.
cent counts.
Right.
You know, it all adds up. You know.
You know, last year when we were in Cambridge, did you hear the story?
Cambridge is affluent, though. No.
Not in Central Square where
Not
we were.
yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
We were in between Harvard and MIT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we call it the down and out in between. So,
But wonderful place.
yeah, we
Wonderful
loved it.
place.
But last year, maybe you heard the story about a woman who dropped a wedding ring and an engagement ring into a
Yes,
kettle
yes,
at North
yes.
Station.
Yeah.
That was my wife's kettle.
Is that right?
And
And she was someone I knew when she finally came forward, because she did it anonymously. She said, well, I asked you one day how the effort was going, and you said it wasn't going very well, and that's why I did it.
her husband had passed away
Yeah, I
several
recall.
years
That
before.
was great.
She included the 2 rings, an old appraisal of $1,800, and a note that said, you know, my husband loved children in this time of year and used to love to help people. Please use these rings, sell the rings, and try to help as many people as you can. And it would just be wonderful if you could get 10 times their value. And so we shared that story with the media.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, about a week and a half later, a woman who had also lost her husband came forward and gave over 10 times what the rings were worth, $21,000. Wow. And she said, I will give it only on the condition that the woman get her rings back.
Oh, really?
And so then we were able to be part of a meeting in our office after the Christmas season where the woman gave the check for $21,000 and presented the rings back to the woman, and they hugged and they were in full embrace. And you know, what a great lesson that you can take that which is most valuable to you and give it away in the service of others, and it can come back to you tenfold.
Tenfold, see?
You know, and it did. It was such a beautiful story. And then that inspired copycat giving that took place all over Boston and the rest of the country. There were tons of news stories of people dropping jewelry into the
jewelry
kettles.
business.
And
We know we're going to have to hire jewelry appraisals at Christmas time.
but what a wonderful, wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
And we were so blessed to be a
little
part of it.
divine intervention.
A lot of
Right.
it,
A
actually.
lot of divine intervention.
It really bailed out our kettle season in Cambridge. It was it made it
That's amazing. Yeah.
made it wonderful.
You started it. It was your kettle. Do you keep that kettle now? Or can I use that one? Maybe.
You know, it was really just about, like everything else I've been talking about, it was really just about relationships and caring about the people that give as well as the people we're helping. And this woman shared with me that she started seeing me, because I stood at North, my husband and I both stood at North Station from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning
For the rush hour.
in uniform.
Oh, yeah.
And
Good spot?
Oh,
excellent
yes.
spot. And so I had known this woman for all 4 years I stood. And she said to me, I started seeing you a month after my husband died 4 years ago. And you were part of my day that helped me go to work because you were smiling and friendly and would talk to me. And those were the things that got me through when I was grieving. So sometimes we think we should only be reaching out to those maybe we consider in lower circumstances than ourselves. But everybody needs a happy word and some love and some care.
A little
and you
smile
never know,
goes a long way. Yeah.
right? And there was no reason, there was no ulterior motive to be kind to her or loving to her, but it ended up benefiting the people we helped by $21,000.
I mean, when you people are screened for the to go into the seminary, they must go by the character. You guys are so great. I mean, you know, they must say, well,
we're under construction.
Yeah, you guys are in. You know, I'd probably be turned away at the door, but you guys, you could see that.
No,
We're not perfect.
That's the beauty. That's what drew me to the Salvation Army, is that redemptive quality, that hand of hope, and the hope and restoration and being put back together. I was a mess when I came to the Salvation Army, and you know, but it was there that I was able to roll up my sleeves, get involved, start serving, and I felt like God did a little more dismantling of me. He said, all right, we're going to finish taking you apart, but we're going to put you back together the right way. And over a 14, 15-year process, he has. And so any good that is in me or that comes out of me is because of him.
Yeah.
And his work.
And you guys got a little grandchild?
We have 4 children. I did not have 4 children in 4 years. They're my stepchildren.
Yeah.
And a grandchild born in August and a granddaughter on the way in February.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. You know, you know, you have to, when the kettle, you have to have that little shuffle too, because it's cold. To keep a
Absolutely.
little warm,
That's
so
right.
you got to move.
That's right.
You know,
Keep
You
moving.
do,
Circulation.
and you got to do what we do, that when we count the kettles, if any time you find $100 bill, and you find them occasionally, you have to do, whoever finds it has to do the $100 dance.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Can you show us a
absolutely.
little of it?
No,
No.
oh no, that's for private
That's
Yeah.
private.
viewing.
It's
That's the elation.
It's
huh?
not
But,
anything people need to see.
not very dignified.
Yeah, you know.
But we'll make sure when you go out and ring, I'll give you Armida's honey bucket.
Yeah, I want that lucky
So-
bucket. All right.
You got it.
And I'll get some diamonds and jewels and.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I remember that story quite well. That was in the newspaper. That was terrific. The lady gave her wedding rings, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the follow-up. That someone.
That was the sweetest part of the story. That reunion where the two met. They wanted to remain anonymous, but they met, and she restored the rings back to the giver.
Wasn't
They
that
wanted
beautiful?
no recognition for themselves. Their names never appeared in the paper.
Wow.
It was only, their pictures never appeared in the paper. It was
Yeah.
just for their own.
And you
sense
must
of
have
giving.
some big people they want to remain anonymous, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
like the kind of people I just want to give. I don't want any, no credit.
Thank goodness there's many people like that.
Yeah.
That they're very humble. They've done very well in life, and they're in a position where they can and want to give back, and they do. And so it's boy, I'll tell you, the people that we help are very fortunate for those who give back like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's a wonderful organization. And you guys are going to be great representatives. I mean, just the way you're talking today, hit all these organizations, and you two doing the talk circuit's going to be great.
Okay.
All right, we're
gonna
going to
hit the
wind up.
circuit.
So make your appeal. This is your camera now, and tell the people out there and
Sure.
Chelsea what some of your needs and if they can get involved and how they get involved, and just if they drop into the center, however.
Yeah, we want to invite not only businesses, volunteer groups, but individuals. If you want to know more about the Salvation Army and what we do, we invite you to come down to our location at 258 Chestnut Street, anytime Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. My wife and I personally, if we're able to, we'd love to show you around, give you a tour. We have other programs than what we've talked about here. We even have an after-school program every day for 39 children that come and have a safe place to do their homework. And engage in other extended day activities, and come on by. We're coming into the holiday season. This is kind of like our World Series.
Right.
It's our opportunity to raise as many funds as we can that really help us throughout the year. Everything that you drop into a red kettle in Revere, Chelsea, East Boston, Winthrop, Charlestown, that money stays in this community and helps people in this community. That's one of the beautiful things about the Salvation Army. It stays local.
Yes.
You drop it in that bucket, it stays here. If you got winter coats, or maybe at your workplace you want to do a winter clothing drive on our behalf for us, we can come and speak at your place. But you can always bring the things by here. If maybe in your office or your church group or any group that you're in, if you want to take some angel tags and buy gifts for children, you can see us about that. We have a little over 1,000 children that through the generosity of others we'll be able to provide Christmas gifts for this season. So yeah, please just come see us. We want to be partners in the community here in Chelsea. Anything else you want to add?
And if you need help, please know that we're here for you. Just call
Yeah.
or come by.
Well, Captain Armida and Lieutenant Mike, thank you so much for coming
Thanks for
and
having
talking to us. And we hope you won't be strangers here. You know, we have an open door policy, especially for you people from the
Excellent.
Salvation Army.
Thank
and
you.
we'll do an update just before, the early part of December.
Okay.
And
Great.
just, we'll give more details on how things will be done, okay? Thank you for taking the
Dynamite.
time out and being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you so
This
much.
is Duke Bradley. Good evening.